Welcome to Single Mom Survive and Thrive. Just me plus 3, and we're living our best life. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my podcast, Single Mom Survive and Thrive. I'm Jeanette, and this is my third episode entitled Surviving the First, Life After Narcissism. I was originally just going to title this episode Surviving the First and talk to somebody that I know who's a single mom that's more recently divorced, and we can really talk about the challenges of living out that first year in your new life as a single mom. However, the unique thing about Dulce is that she was also married to a narcissist for a long time. And so what really stood out to me is that there are so many people out there that really struggle to move on from a situation like that. There's so many people that are married way too long to people that are narcissists because they really are entrapped into something quite difficult. And so after interviewing Dulce, I really hope if there's anybody out there that's dealing with a similar situation, I really want you to know there really is a possibility of having life after narcissism. However, it is a unique recovery in itself. So if you're living with some fear that you just won't be able to make it on your own, just know that that's not true. It is possible. I'm a testament to that. Dulce is a testament to that. And just know that it's possible. You can survive and you can thrive. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a drink, and enjoy this interview with this super special lady. I have with me an amazing person today. She's a fellow single mom friend, and her name is Dulce. She is here with me. Say hello, Dulce.
Hello.
And the tradition is we have to have a drink together before we do anything. So we are drinking tequila. Solana Tequila Silva Agave.
With lime.
With lime. And I don't know about you, but I have to have the salt on my hand.
The salt?
Yeah.
All right.
What about you? Do you like it with, without salt, lime?
I can go both ways.
Okay. Cheers. Cheers. That's a really big shot. Okay, so today's episode is all about surviving the first. So basically, after you've left your significant other, you are alone. You feel alone. You might not necessarily be alone, but you're in a brand new world, and you're very often in a place of just like lostness. It's not necessarily something that you ever planned to be in this position. You don't know how to plan for it. And you just get through it. And so I thought it would be a really good experience to interview somebody, because looking back in my journey, the first year was probably the hardest year of my life. My experience and my story is not always the same as everybody's. When I left my ex, I had 3 young kids, well, pretty young. One was not even 2. The other 2 were 6 and 8. So doing that alone without any help from him was something I never prepared for. And it was crazy. It was just... Yeah, and it was like go mode. Like I kind of liken it to when people talk about when they've lost somebody. Like I don't know if have you ever had death in your family or a close person? Yeah. So that first, like, they're just like, they don't cry. They're just like go planning the funeral, doing this, doing that, and then before you know it, like the grief hits them like months down the line, and then they suddenly just like lose it because you're just in this go mode. And I feel like that first year, at least from having young kids and having to just keep my game face on, I just didn't have a time to process anything. But 6 years later, I look back now. I was obviously, to remind my listeners, I was only together with my ex for 10 years, married 6 of those. Still a significant amount of time in my life. So 6 years after that, that's a significant amount of time for me to heal from that. So looking back, I look back at that first year, and I get like shivers thinking about memories of that first year, especially with the young kids, having to create new memories for them and so on. It was a painful year, but each year got better and it got easier. I know we've talked about that too. Everybody, I wanted to introduce Dulce to you so we could listen a little bit of her story, and then we could dive into a bit of how she's been managing through this last year, because she's been separated 1 year about that, right?
It's been about 1 year. I mean, it was kind of a weird, drawn out, long, painful separation. But officially, I think I could say it was a year ago.
Yeah.
That the actual decision was made.
So give us all a summary of your story, just in general, of how long you were married, and how you're here today as a single woman or single mom. I mean, and explain
I'm still a single mom. My kids are grown, but they it's still a thing for them that mom and dad are not a couple anymore. So
yeah,
my ex and I met in 1999, and it was kind of a very Fast and Furious kind of thing that happened. He had just gotten separated from his wife at the time, and he was actually my boss at a job that I started working at. And within 2 weeks, he was living with me, and within 8 months, I was pregnant. You know, it was like
How old were you?
I was 23.
Okay.
It was love at first sight. Like I was like, he was so into me, and I was just like, I was enamored. You know, like it was great. I mean, things were great. And then I moved to Southern California from Northern California, and things continued to be great because it was just like, you know, I didn't have any friends or family or anything here. So my whole entire life was just, you know, our little unit, and I was completely happy with that. Like, you know, it's like, that was what I always wanted, was normal. I grew up kind of unconventionally, in and out of foster care and stuff. So like I was creating normal, and it was a lot of fun. I totally enjoyed it. And then things started kind of going awry, after we were, you know, we ended up getting married 7 years after we met. We bought a house, and things were fine for about 5 years. And then things just started kind of getting a little bit, you know, things started getting a little wonky. He had some control issues, and I changed careers, which, you know, got me doing things that were a lot more social, and doing things on the weekends and the evenings. I got out of administration and into real estate, so it's, you know, very different. And that's when things started. We started kind of having some issues, but you know, you deal with them, and you know, you make the best of, you know, of what you want. I wanted normal. I wanted the white picket fence. I wanted the house. I wanted the happy family. That's what I wanted. So I looked past a lot of stuff that in hindsight, I realized that it really kind of was the death of us back then. It just took 20 years for it to actually come to fruition.
Wow. And so you have how many kids?
I have 3 kids.
And so tell me about the years that, like, the ages. So you had your first kid.
I had my first in 1990. She's 30 years old now. And then I have my second.
So that's not your ex-husband's dad?
No. Like that's our first. I've only been married once, and I've only had children with him.
I thought you said you met in 99.
1999. Oh, I'm sorry.
89?
1989. Yes,
Okay.
I did say 99.
Okay.
You're right. I did.
Okay.
But no, we met. Actually, we met in 1988.
Oh, okay.
We met in 1988, and
Okay.
yes, and she was born in 1990.
Oh, gotcha.
So we met in December of 88. I was pregnant in 89, and she was born in 90.
Gotcha.
So, and then we moved to Southern California and all that good stuff. And then about 5.5 years later, we had the second daughter, but that was right. You know, so within 1 year, we bought a house. I got pregnant, and we got married. All within 1 year. And I don't know. Sometimes I look back and I think that, you know, just shit got really real, really fast. And I kind of, you know, you look back and you try and figure out, like, where did it go wrong? Where did it go wrong?
Always at the beginning.
Yeah. Honestly.
Meaning, like.
Yeah. Seriously,
the
beginning, where it went, I've traced it back to the fact that he had just gotten kicked out from his wife had just kicked him out, and he moved in with me within a week. That's where it went wrong.
Well, that's
literally where it went wrong.
I'm smiling and I'm giggling inside because I don't know if we've ever shared this with each other, but eerily, that is like the same story as me, except my ex wasn't married or anything. The flags that I ignored at the beginning. He was living with mom. He was only 20. I was 24. And we met, and he, like, lived with me within 2 weeks.
Right.
And we fast forwarded. I was pregnant within the year. We lived together within 2 months. And before you know, and we didn't get married technically, but we moved in as a married couple. When I looked back and I was like analyzing everything, it's been absolutely, that's where we went wrong.
Right, yeah.
That's where we started.
I could,
if we could undo and redo.
Seriously, I could identify a dozen or more points in time where we're like, that was where it went wrong. But ultimately, really, it was in the very beginning.
Because we weren't educated enough to know how to be healthy and make good choices at that time.
Well, and I mean, I grew up the daughter of an alcoholic bipolar mother.
Right.
Like, and I've gone through a lot of counseling, and basically what it comes down to is, you know, that hot and cold, on and off. Yeah. Affection, withholding affection. That's what my mom did. Right. You know, I married my mom. You know, like that's what love feels like to me. You know, to be treated like that.
We talked about this in the last episode, and it's probably going to come up reoccurring, but I've uncovered this as well, just from multiple friends we've talked to. We're drawn to what we're comfortable to, what we're raised in. Yeah. And I kind of married my dad, not to paint my dad as the same man as my ex, because they were kind of different at one point, but at the beginning they were the same. For me, it was the alcoholic, fun, he has fun guy, the fun guy that loves to drink a lot. And that was my dad. Whereas I didn't realize that actually what addiction was at that time. Not to take it back to me, but I relate to you in that it is so true that our childhood, what we learn and what we watch or what we model, is what we're attracted to. I know we can break that chain sometimes, but
and that's the thing. Really that's the thing. I really crazy. I thought I had dealt with it. I felt like I had I had transcended that. Like my mom was single, alcoholic, bipolar, in and out. I was in and out of children's shelter and foster homes. I was emancipated at the age of 15. Like I meet people that I knew back then, and they're like, "Wow, how did you even survive?" Right? Yeah. And in my mind, I was just like, "Not going to do that. Not going to do that.
Right.
Not going to do that." I wanted normal. And so I found a willing participant, but hurt people, or I guess you attract broken people or whatever. And we worked really well together for quite a while, as long as my my focus was 100% on him. As long as my focus was on him and the family, and as when I started having interests that were outside of our family unit, is when things started kind of going awry for us.
So would you say, obviously this episode is really to talk about the first year, and we'll get to that, but I just think a lot of people might relate to some of this. Would you say that you were married to a narcissist?
Absolutely, positively. If you find the checklist that says covert narcissist and just check all the boxes.
Yeah.
And that's the deal.
Yeah, so I just think it's good to put that out there, because the more we talk about all this stuff, the more anyone that's listening is divorced or separated from a narcissist will relate to exactly what you're saying. Because I know I wasn't with a narcissist in marriage, but there was narcissistic qualities in any addiction, right, and any addict. And I've since attracted narcissists since then, so I relate to some of that, and just the constant need to work to please that person. Yes. Those chains that you have is the brokenness in us, and that is what attracts those types of people to people like us. Even those, I wasn't from your typical broken home raising. I was raised with two good parents in a good home. My mom had your life, but because she never resolved that, she was broken in her own way.
So generational.
And so I just watched her life patterns, like how she behaved. And I copied that, I guess. I'm realizing in my later years, even though I respect very much her way of how she was as a mom. She's an amazing mom. But anyway, back to you. So knowing that, back to your story, you were married a total of how many years?
Officially married 24 years and 9 months. Just shy of that 25th anniversary. That would have been earlier this month. But we were together a total, I guess you could say, a little over 31 years.
Yeah, that's a long time.
So, yep.
Yeah, and so, and you have 3 children. They're aged what?
30, 25, and 22. And they're all grown and all their own. And they are, despite all the, I strived really hard for normal.
Yeah.
And, my kids to this day will say that they're grateful that they got the opportunity to grow up in an intact family, and I filled in a lot of blanks along the way. I just wanted, like my vision, my dream was to have that normal family. So I did what I want, this is what a normal family looks like, and that's what I tried to make happen.
You executed
I executed that, and honestly, it's like probably my biggest pride and joy is that my kids just don't know the kind of craziness that I had to, that I grew up in.
Yeah.
And they've expressed that. They're grateful for that. Sometimes though, I look back and I think, there's some big things that happened, like, at this point, it's like 22 years ago.
Yeah.
And I look back and I think to myself, you know, had I handled that differently then, the trajectory of our whole relationship